Hey everyone, it's good to see you. Today I'm going to come in and do a quick little video on how to find that inner peace in amongst all the chaos. So if you're finding that right at the moment with just all the different energy shifts and just within your own self that you're feeling fried, frazzled or even frustrated, and yet all you're really absolutely craving is to find that inner peace, then this video is for you. So I'm just going to quickly share this across and then we'll get on with it. So when you jump on, please let me know where you're coming in from and just jump in and say, hey, how you going? And then we're going to jump in and get on with this video. Awesome. Hey, Becky. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Sarah. So, excuse me. There is, as you've heard me say for quite some time, there's lots of energy going on out there. And when that energy is intense, it's a very electromagnifying, as in it causes distortions and disruptions within our own energy. And yet that place that we crave is to find that inner peace, that quietness, so we can think things through, so we can collect our thoughts, so we can feel better in ourselves, so that we can find the balance or the calmness amongst the chaos. And yet it can be really, really difficult if we don't know how to be able to do this. Hey Larissa, how are you, love? And thank you so much for sharing, gorgeous. So today I wanted to come in and I wanted to share with you a few different things that you can do to be able to help find that inner peace within your own self, so that in amongst everything that's going on, you've got a go-to thing that you can do that will help you bring yourself back to that center of balance, that center of calm. Because when you're balanced and when you're calm, you have clarity, you know the direction to go in. You can also become aware of, from the opposite end, that at the moment that you're unbalanced, you know how to bring yourself back to center of self. So this is a really great tool to be able to understand. So you've all heard about how important it is to be able to meditate. Now, for me, this was something that I struggled in the really, really early days, is in the fact that, to me, I thought meditation was just that traditional form of just sitting, you know, trying to make all of those thoughts dissolve and disappear into the no man's land and find that inner zone, that inner peaceful place. And yet it didn't matter how much I sat there and tried to do that. It was not something that I could do, and it used to make me frustrated, and it used to make me think that I was doing something wrong. So traditional meditation is not something that always works for everyone. And so today I wanted to share with people that there is a different form of being able to meditate, which is active meditation. Now, active meditation is for those people whose minds are busy, that do find it hard to switch off, that do find it hard to find that inner peace within their own self, yet that's the very thing they crave for. So active meditation is where you actually are doing some form of physical activity. Because what happens is, if you are someone that has their mind is busy all the time, they find it hard to switch off, they find it hard to relax, and get frazzled and feel frustrated, the actual act of doing physical activity, what that does is it overrides the mind in a form. So that physical activity will give that space for that mind to think until it's thought through everything, and then all of a sudden it reaches that plateau of becoming quiet, and therefore you can go into that meditative state. So active meditation, hey Leanne, how you doing, is something that needs to be understood by lots of people, because a lot of people think, well, if I can't just go in and sit down and then within 5 minutes reach that inner peaceful place, then, you know, I'm not going to meditate anymore. And yet meditation is something that we all require, because it allows us to reach within that place to be able to find that quietness. Because as we know, all the answers we ever need are within, yet if your mind is so busy, you can't access that intimate information coming through from your soul. So active meditation is whether you go for a run, ride your bike, go for a really brisk walk, even like scrubbing walls. Not that that's everyone's go-to thing to do. What that's doing is that it's taking care of that busy active mind and giving it something constructive to do, so long as you become the objective observer, as in you're just observing the thoughts that are coming through, but you're not actually engaging in them. And so therefore, because the moment that you start engaging in with those busy thoughts, hey Dee, how are you, gorgeous? The moment you engage in those deep inner thoughts that are going through when you're doing the act of meditation, it means that you're engaging in keeping that type of busy mindset going. And what we want to do is we want that busy mind to run its course until it runs out. And then because there's no engagement, it just reaches that place where it just stops. And therefore you can go into that really awesome deep meditation place where you can go in and find that inner peace, find that balance, communicate with your soul, connect with the universe, find that place to bring yourself back to center of self, allow your nervous system to calm down, allow yourself to gain clarity and balance within your own self, so therefore you're not exuding all of your energy and burning yourself out. So active meditation is something that can be done anywhere at any time, and to be able to access that inner peace without always thinking that you need to go through the route of the traditional form, which is to be able to just go and sit and see if you can find that place of inner peace. So I'm not sure. I'd love to hear if anyone else out there finds it really difficult to actually just go and sit and find that inner peace, and to be able to meditate when your mind is busy and you feel like you're affected by the energy and feeling frazzled and frustrated. I'd love to hear if that's something that you yourself struggle with, because the reason I wanted to share this is because we think that this is the only traditional form in which to be able to get to that place, that, you know, to go and sit and just get into that meditation state, or, you know, there's an array of different forms of meditation, you know, whether it's traditional, sit there and listen to music, or quietly sit within your own thoughts, or TM meditation. But there is also another way in which you can access that and get there so much quicker, so that you can obtain all the things that you're seeking right at that particular point, without thinking that there's only one channel on which to be able to get this. Because I remember when I first started meditating many years ago, I'd sit there and I'd actually literally think there was something wrong with me, because I could not switch off my mind. It didn't matter. I'd almost feel like there was the moment that I wanted to find that peacefulness where there was no thoughts was the moment my brain went, okay, let's have a conversation. Now let's talk about everything. And that used to frustrate me. And I used to think it didn't matter what I did, I just couldn't allow my mind to become quiet. And yet the moment that I either take my dogs for a really brisk walk, or go out bike riding, or doing something that actually allowed me to consume that energy, which is busyness and being unable to relax, once you've exuded that and given your thoughts a place to be able to just ramble, basically, without engaging in it, was the moment that I realized that you can reach that place of euphoric space where there is a nothingness in your mind. But sometimes we've just got to try different channels in which to be able to access this. And for me, that was an absolute gold moment. So those moments when I find that I am, running around with my head chopped off, or I just really want to find that peacefulness, I will know that in order for myself to be able to achieve that I will first go and do some form of physical activity, and then I can come back and sit and do that meditation, because I have channeled that energy in a way that is constructive for my own self and how I function and operate. But in order to be able to achieve that optimal outcome, which was what I wanted, which was to find that calm and that peacefulness within my own self. And that to me was like a massive turning point in my own self, because for a long time I used to think, well, if I can't get to that place within 5 or 10 minutes, I'm not going to waste my time. I would walk away feeling even more frustrated, even more angry at my own self, and I would end up in this argument within my own self as to why I couldn't get to that meditative state that I yet so desperately craved. And yet the moment that I understood that there was a different way to be able to access that, it was like a massive defining turning point for me, because then I realized that I could get there from a different way and be able to work best with how I operate and how I function. So I stopped that frustration. I stopped that cycle of thinking that meditation doesn't work for me. I just had to go about it in a different way. And there are so many other people out there that work that way as well. And that was why I wanted to share that, so that the moment that you understand it, if this is what resonates with you, if this is what you have to do in order to get to that meditative space, then you do that. And it doesn't take long. As I said, the key to when you do that sort of form of active meditation is to make sure that all of the thoughts, as they're circulating through your mind, is not to engage in the thought. Because the moment that you engage in it, it's like the moment that you engage is the moment you get consumed by the content that's going around in your mind. Whereas if you just observe those thoughts and those ideas and those things that are coming through for you, check in to see how your body's feeling. All of these kind of things help you be able to tune into what's going on in your inner world, so that when you reach that place of that inner peace where you can become calm, you can go in and have a look at what is it that you could do to bring things back into balance for your own self. So for me, it's always about being able to understand how, if there's something that's really awesome that you want to be able to do it, understand that there's more than one way to be able to achieve that, and to try different things until such times as you find something that suits you and works for you. So therefore you can reach those optimum levels of state of beingness at a much more rapid space, rather than keep thinking that something doesn't working or stay frustrated while you're doing it. And I know there are so many other people out there that can reach that level by doing this form of meditation as well. Now, this is about being able to understand that active meditation is about, it's not a, for some people they may think, oh, well, it's maybe you're just trying to avoid, or you're not trying to relax. It's not. It's about being able to understand that if your mind is very, very active, if you try and ask it to just stop straight away, you're going to create disruptions within your own self. You're only going to initiate even more frustration within your own self. Some people have that ability to do that, and that is freaking awesome. It's awesome. But that doesn't always mean that that works for everyone. So it's also important to be able to understand I always say to people, like, how you can sort of best work out whether you are a person that needs to do active meditation activity to be able to get into that state of meditation, or you're someone that can get into that space very quickly, is to think about, when you are the most angriest, what is it that you need to do? And therefore that will give you an insight of you into being able to understand which is the channel that's going to work best for you. If you're someone that's really angry and you need to go away and just sit and be by yourself and be really, really quiet and not have any noise around you, then you're the type of person that can just go and sit in the amongst of chaos and just sit in that beautiful space to be able to reach that meditative state. But if you're someone that when you're really angry, you need to actually go do something, some form of physicality, to be able to burn off those that anger and frustration, then 9 times out of 10 you're going to be an active meditator. And when you understand this, it means that you can go and do the things that help you be able to get that ultimate outcome. So at this moment, while there's so much intensity of energies and emotions and things coming up, meditation is something that is imperative to be able to bring yourself back to a space of balance, to be able to bring yourself back to a center of beingness, to re-regulate your heartbeat, to re-regulate your breath. Because the moment that we are angry and frustrated or caught up or consumed by energy and emotions, we start to shallow breathe. So we start breathing from the top of our lungs, and therefore what happens is that initiates your nervous system to switch on to think that it's in fight or flight syndrome. So you have this perpetual cycle that is going on continually where you are not being able to relax. So being able to get there is through that activity, is that you're channeling that frazzled energy and you're dispersing it in a beautiful, constructive way that will then help you re-regulate your breath, disengage the nervous system, so that when you've done that 5 or 10 minutes, or even if it's 30 minutes of physical activity, then you can come back to that beautiful space and where you can sit and your mind has actually become clear, but you're actually coming in with even more information this time round, because you've absorbed observed, I'll get the word out, observed the thoughts that are circulating around in your mind, which gives you insight of you into what is actually creating frustration. How are you feeling? So therefore you can honor them when you go into that meditation space. And what you do with it when you're in that meditative space is up to you, because each person will go into that meditative space for a different reason. Some of them go in and just express a great deal of gratitude. With TM meditation, it's about having a sound or a word to which to focus on and allow the vibration of that word to circulate through you, and that bringing information through for you. Or some people, when they like to go in for meditation, is to go in and deeply connect with that soulful place of yourself to seek guidance and answers. So once you get into that meditative space, it's up to you to explore how you choose to enjoy that quiet peacefulness to be able to access that guidance that every person is wanting. But it's also about bringing yourself back to a center of state. So therefore you have the coping mechanisms to be able to make decisions that are in alignment with you, to be able to have the confidence in the direction that you're going on, to feel confident within your own self is most important. And that is what's very, very cool about getting into these spaces of meditation. So I really hope that this has given each and every one of you something different to go away and think about. How do you access that meditative state, and understand that there are more than one way in which to be able to achieve that. So go and give it a try. Like, that's all I suggest, is just try it. As I said, check in and see if you're that person that when you're angry and frustrated requires that quietness and can get to that level of state straight away, or if you're that person that needs to physically express that frustration to be able to channel it in a physical element in order to disperse anger and frustration or intense emotions. And therefore that will give you a much more insight of you as to what is the way in which you can reach that awesome meditative state much more rapidly to be able to get that ultimate goal. So take care, much love to you all, and hope you're having an awesome day. And remember, be kind and be good to yourself. These are all the ways, all of these different tools and these different ways in which I share with you how to be able to help navigate through these times, is only just reminding you what you already know. But sometimes we forget to give to ourselves the very thing that we need until someone says something, you're like, oh, I can do that. So it's really important that at these times when there's lots of things going on, because guess what, at the end of the day, there's always going to be energetic shifts that go on. And the most amazing thing that you can do for yourself is to be able to understand, what do you need to be able to stay in a center of staying aligned, to stay balanced, to stay calm, and then give that to yourself on a day-to-day basis. And at the moment, there are certain tools that we need to do more than once throughout the day. There's, whether it's grounding yourself, whether it's doing the meditation, whether it's doing gratitude, or sitting and using your oracle cards, or saging and cleansing your home. These are not just, do once and once only. These are tools that are there for the rest of your life. These are things that I have done for over 20 years. And I will continue to do them for the rest of my life, because I know the benefits that I receive by doing them. And yes, there are times that you wake up and you know that you need to either go do a meditation or go ground yourself or do something, and you really don't freaking feel like doing it. But that's the very time when you need to do it the most. So remember, the moment that you do something for yourself is the way in which you get to nourish yourself. And the more that you are centered, balanced and calm, the more that you have the ability to navigate and just flow through the energy shifts that are occurring, rather than getting caught up in them, because that only just inflames the situation. So we want to put the flame out. We want to bring ourselves back to that zone of feeling awesome and feeling wicked, as opposed to feeling like a frazzled, fried, like nut job, and with energy going, things affecting you outside, but also infecting how you feel within your own self internally, which is where the biggest disruption comes. So use these tools to be able to help you always stay in that space of respecting yourself, giving love to yourself, nourishing yourself, and feeding your soul with the very thing that it needs. And you are the most powerful person that can give this to yourself. So go practice all of these different tools that I've shared with you. See what works for you. See which ones you can have fun with. Also discovering the things that you don't like makes it even more insightful, because the next time you want to do something, you can go, well, I know that didn't work that time. I might give it a go again, but I'm not going to spend too much time wasting my energy in that channel if I know it's not going to be able to give me that optimal level of that inner peace within my own self. So these are all very, very cool things to give to yourself at this very given time. And remember, the more you give to yourself and the more that you stay in an awesome state, the more that you are actually being the best version of you and being your truthful self. And that is all that your soul ever asks for you to become, is to be comfortable with who you are. And we get all of these different ways in which to be able to access that. So it doesn't matter how frazzled or fried we become, we can do things to bring ourselves back, to connect back into that awesomeness. So remember, be kind, give yourself respect, do things for yourself to nourish your soul, and the benefits that you will receive from that will be amazing. So take care, feel free to share, and much love to you all.